Zambia. Good evening, world. Good evening. Oh, Gachen, good morning. Muri bwanji, mwauka bwanji, mwankara bwanji, mwachoma bwanji, muri uli. And all the nice and good greetings to you this evening. On our chat this evening, I'm excited to be speaking to Mr. Maanka Chipindi, Mr. Adrian, from National Arts Council, where he's the director. So this evening's discussion is obviously still on music, but we want to see music from the National Arts Council's perspective. We want to understand, what does National Arts Council do? What is it that they are doing? What is it that we should expect from them? And where do they see Zambian music going 10, 20 years from now? Mr. Maanka, good evening.
Good evening, Pilato. How are you?
I'm very, very fine, and I'm happy you agreed to join us on this conversation.
Thank you. I look forward to the discussions and the engagements.
Yeah. So just to kickstart the conversation, can you tell us what really goes on at National Arts Council? What's the role of National Arts Council in Zambia? What does it do? What do you do at National Arts Council?
Okay, so basically the National Arts Council is the government agency. It's a statutory body. We were created to do three things. The first one is to develop the arts. In doing this, we partner with different organizations and individuals to undertake interventions to create some kind of shift in the arts, be it capacity building, funding, if opportunities allow, and things like that. The second bit of the National Arts Council is that we promote the arts. In promoting, we partner with organization again to sort of highlight the importance of the arts and why the arts are critical. And in promoting the arts, we work with different people that we deal with, organizations and things like that. So sort of an advocate, not really advocate, but more of someone to highlight the good of the arts. And then finally, we are regulators. We regulate the arts. Now, this is a very difficult term, regulating the arts, but it's there in the mandate. It's one of the things we do. We regulate the arts, and in regulating the arts, we look at registering arts organizations, making them formal, and also licensing foreign artists. I don't like the word foreign, but we license foreign artists, so that want to come to perform in Zambia. And we also license promoters. So if a promoter wants to come and set up their business in Zambia, local promoters, then they come to us and we talk to them. Yeah. So basically, those are the three things I think we can say we do.
Out of curiosity, you mentioned partnering with other organizations. Have you ever partnered with the British Council to promote local arts or the work of creatives in Zambia?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. The British Council has been a very good partner for us. For years, they were helping us promote literature and literacy in terms of the arts, poetry, and things like that. I don't know if you remember, there was a time British Council ran a program called Out of Africa series. By then, they were by Heroes Press in Cairo Road. The good days of poetry, even in the city. But a lot of programs we've done with the British Council. And in the last few years, I think the focus in our partnership has been how to promote the business of the arts. As you may be aware, Britain has a lot of experience in arts business. So we've been partnering with the British Council to facilitate support to incubators, creative hubs, capacity in festival development, and also just general business of the arts kind of initiatives. So most of the work in the recent past has been how do we actualize this idea that art is a business and how do we make it happen. So with the support from British Council, we've been able to do that. Most of it has been constrained by budgets, the usual budget issues, but we've been able to take advantage of a lot of good exchange programs where some team is coming, for example, to South Africa, and they make a layover in Osaka, and we've been able to access a lot of good talent. Now, when I say we, some of the support and partnership has not been direct with the National Arts Council, some has been with other organizations within the arts fraternity, but we count it in our column, because support to one arts organization is support to the National Arts Council. Yes, yeah.
Interesting. So I must mention that I have partnered with the British Council for this program, and I wanted to hear exactly if that support or partnership also has reached the National Arts Council. What I would like to understand from you, and obviously from the partnership that you've had, especially with the British Council, you mentioned about art as a business.
Yes.
I'd like you to talk about music as an art in the country and as a business. Where does is there anything that you are doing? Is there anything that any programs, any plans, or anything that is on your desk that is music centric?
Okay, so for a council that is often accused to be a council for musicians, we are always very sensitive in terms of how we handle these things, because people say we are a council for musicians, and it's an accusation which is out there. So most of our programs, I may say they are not music centric, but we try to be as wide as possible in terms of the work that we do. So the key for us, I think, in the last few years has been the promotion of music business, the business of music, and that has been through capacity building programs and these kinds of interventions. But because music in Zambia is a bit more commercialized than other art sectors, as a council, we found ourselves working mostly on the regulation side in the music sector, in terms of promoters and foreign artists, with a bit of interventions here and there around the music promotion. So among the programs we've done in the recent few years, we had the Arts Business Forum a few years ago. It went down, but we had developed something called an artist resource hub, an online artist resource hub. The idea with an online artist resource hub was that we wanted to create an online resource pool where it could be easier for business musicians to commercialize, to formalize their artistic businesses. So it would be like a signposting tool. Unfortunately, it went down. We're trying to restore it and maybe grow it in that context. We are currently in a partnership with Maanka to for a program called Partners Against Piracy, where we're trying to push the piracy business. So basically, that has been our involvement in music of late. Mostly, it's been around capacity building, us as a business, a bit more on the regulation, promoters, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think I've had. I think I mentioned this to you. I've had a series of discussions with artists and creatives in general, and one of the biggest problems that
I followed a few of them.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems that I've gotten from these creatives that I keep talking to is they keep mentioning the lack of a policy or policy framework that supports the musician, that supports the creative. I know my concentration has been on the musician, but this is true for other disciplines, art disciplines. As a National Arts Council, do you think the informal nature of the arts in Zambia is because there isn't a policy framework, or there's no policy that is conducive or that allows or positions artists as business entities or institutions?
Yeah, so that's a very good question and very interesting question. I think there are two things. First of all, the issue of informality Artists by nature, they don't like formality, because formality in a way is about control and
Yes.
checking in and being sure you're self-control. And sometimes it's not always good to be formal. But when you want to talk about art as a business, formality then becomes very crucial. Because when you want to go to a bank to get a loan, to do anything, formality becomes a key part of the process for you to get what you want to get. Almost no bank can give you a loan without, no, not almost, no bank can give you a loan as a business if you are not registered.
Mm.
And so there's a lot of that bit, and so we have to understand that dynamic. But also in terms of even just at the individual level, right now in government, I don't know if you're aware, there's a big push that all the service providers to government must be registered, PACRA, must have a tipping. These are regulations now. So that means even a musician, if I want to hire a musician to come and sing, they have to be formalized. So that I think is one part. And the level of formalization has been quite high. I think the last time I checked, I was reading some report, I think from IDO, the arts were like at 97% in Zambia or something. That was the level of formalization. I mean, informal sector, only 3% of arts ventures were formalized, and that's a very huge number. A part of it is because the process of formalization is very difficult. It's just very difficult. The other day we got an artist here who had come to our office. They wanted to register their taxes, to register the tax tipping and things like that. They went to ZRI, they found some people at the gate, and the people told them, say, no, you have to pay huge sums of money, like 900 or 800,000, I don't remember. And so for creative, it's very difficult to formalize. I'm happy now Pakra has put up the online system. It's a bit working, but we need a bit more. So that is one. So that's one problem. A lot of informal entities, the challenges of formalization, the process itself, the cost of formalization, and just the cost of compliance. It's also very high. So that is a big thing. But the issue of the police also is very crucial, and that's where now as National Council we've taken a keen interest. You may wish to know that two key things have happened. When we passed the National Council Act in 1994, against the normal government processes, we did not have a policy. The normal thing in government that should happen is that you should have first a policy that creates a sort of a framework. And then when you have the policy, that's when you now do the act. You see, but in case of us, we had the act, and then in 2003, we enacted the cultural policy, which sort of housed the arts in there. So there's been no effective policy in essence for the past 30 years within the arts. There's been efforts to create a policy that is responsive, but there's been no clear policy. So we are operating in a place where, whether you talk of film, music, dance, there's no framework. Yeah, there's nothing to frame this thing to say this is where we are going, this is where we are, because that's what the policy does. So it's been a big thing, and yeah. So for this year, fortunately, I don't know that it's fortunate or unfortunate. It's one of those things. We don't know that it's fortunate or unfortunate, but we have a good opportunity, because since we moved to the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Arts, the emphasis has been on the need for us to develop the arts policy. As I'm talking now, we've already commenced processes of developing the arts policy. That's why some of the discussions we're having in this project will be very interesting for us, even when we sit down to consult in terms of the policy, because we'll then reach out to you and say, what are some of the key policy issues that you are on the ground? So we are hopeful that we'll develop the arts policy this year. And once we develop the arts policy, I think that will create a framework for arts the way we are. You remember that the National Council was established in 1994, and the work to establish the council started immediately after multi-party democracy came in. in the 1992-93 areas there. So the focus of the National Arts Council Act, even when you look at it, it focuses on representation, because that was the big thing then. It was about, we want to have a voice. Everyone was talking of democracy, having a voice. So the idea that arts is a business only came in the 2000, mid 2005 and things like that. So we are in a place where the act does not respond to the expectation of the industry in terms of the business of the arts. So that's why we need to deal with a policy, then we enact the act and revise it and recognize the arts as a business. So even as a council, I think we did a study in 2017 with the EU, with support from EU. We established that we are not structured to support artistic businesses. We are not structured to support artistic business. It was it's a thing where you work, you do your programs every year, but because the program are aligned to your act, you are not responsive to the business realities of the people you serve. Yeah, so so there you are. Interesting.
So I think this confirms what most of the creatives have been saying, and when it comes to the lack of a policy in the country, especially when it comes to creatives and the arts. To what extent do you think this affects the development of art in the country? To what extent do you think the lack of this affects the actual development of the arts in the country?
Okay, so yeah, I have this feeling. I don't know that feelings are allowed us in public service, but I have this feeling that we may be talking about different things. Because I'll give you an example. Issues of regulation, for example, when you talk of arts regulation, and people are talking, I get calls. I'll tell you, every time Pilato sings a song, I get a call. So Pilato has sang a song and is doing this and that and that. And then people expect the National Arts Council to be able to go to Pilato and say, Pilato, don't sing this song and don't sing that song. So sometimes when we talk of regulation, people expect that level of regulation. And I don't know whether that's, I don't feel that's the path we want to take. So maybe even as we talk of policy, we may need to spend some time to agree on what do we mean by policy. We need to get to the central point where we're talking about the same thing. Because you may find that we may go ahead and enact a policy, and then there will be disappointment within the sector. Because us as administrators, with our experience, with the interactions we've had with the sector, who have a different meaning of what it means to regulate and to promote. And the artists, on the other hand, who have a different meaning. The consumers also have a different meaning. So one of the key things is the need for dialogue to bring these different ideas together so that we are discussing the same thing. Well, not really the same thing, but we have an understanding of what we are all talking about. So I think that is very crucial. That's number one point. In terms of the extent, it's been very, very, very bad. I think it's been very difficult for artists to work. You have to understand that in terms of the levels of development, artists are at different levels. There are artists who are amateurs, musicians who are amateurs. Yourself, maybe when you started a Pilato, you didn't mind the people getting your music and playing it anyhow. And you're like, I'm on radio, mommy, in the radio, things like that. That's at one level. That's one level. And we cannot handle that level the same way we can handle established artists. Here on the station, you've had the Chamanyazi, you had Mark II. Those are established people. Those are ready for professionalization. So even when we talk of the impact, you have to understand that it has forced us to handle artists that are at different levels in one pot with one instrument, when we should be able to create different ways of handling them. The interest of an established artist are not the same as for the amateur artist. The amateur artist just wants to be known and walk around and things like that. A professional artist has a different thing. So we have to find that, and it's been very, very adverse. One controversial issue, for example, has been issues of fees. I think a few weeks ago there was a controversy about one artist and the fees, and people are saying, no, the fees are too high and things like that. Well, I don't know whether they are too high or too low. It's a question of how do we ensure there's a fee structure that reflects the different level of establishment and things like that. So it's been quite bad. Artists work without contracts. If you talk of musicians, there is nothing that compels promoters to have contracts. The conditions are difficult. We do improvise from time to time, especially for shows that we regulate, because normally we don't regulate local shows. We regulate normally shows that involve foreign artists. So when we go to those shows, we okay, where's the contract? Okay, where's the backstage? Is there security? Things like that we can ask the promoter. But for local shows, it's really very rough for artists, very rough. For studios, you can go to a studio, you record your music, the following morning the studio has recorded your music with another person, and they are playing it and they are selling it. So yeah, it's been quite negative. It's been quite negative. So in short, we've not had a structure. We've not had a structure which will guide us how we can move together, so that we push into one direction. Yeah.
Are you in a position to give us an idea in terms of percentage, or will you be able to guess how much, in terms of percentage, the arts or the creative sector contributes to the GDP of the country, like economic-wise? What
Yeah, well, it's not a guess. It's not a guess. There are a few documents that are available. The beginning 2018, fortunately, they are called Zamstats now. I think Zamstats. They used to be called CSO. Yeah, Zamstats. They've been running these surveys, and in their survey, they've included something called recreation, entertainment, and arts. I think that's the name of the line. And they've been capturing data in that line. I think they're working with the Ministry of Labor under the Labor Force Survey. For example, they estimated that we have about 22,000 people involved in the creative industry in Zambia. And the last year's economic report said we had contributed, before the COVID, we were around 0.4% to GDP. Yeah, that's what we had. It's quite low. So it's not a guess. These are the numbers that are there, 0.4%. But that may, yeah, 0.4. According to the last national economic report, I think for 2020, I haven't seen the 2021 one. I haven't gone through it, but it's out. I haven't really interrogated. But the 2020, that's what it said. 0.4%. Then we had 22,000, as I've mentioned. Most of them are male. Most of them are female, rather, and things like that. But the percentage may be a bit misleading, and we've raised our contentions with the posters or the statisticians. We've said that sometimes they are not able to capture the actual economic impact because I'll give you an example, maybe outside the music. If I come to Zambia, I buy a craft and I put it in my hand luggage. It won't be scanned at the airport. You won't know that I've exported, I've gotten this thing. So there's a lot of art happening in the informal sector. That's why as National Arts Council, we've been pushing for more formalization so that our impact can be better recorded, because it's not recorded at all, and it's a bit unfair. I'll give you another example, and this thing we're discussing the other day with a filmmakers. If you host a show, Pilato, at a bar, for example, and the bar on that night have more people, when they count the economic impact, they will not count the impact of your show. That impact will be counted under whatever ministry counts for bars and things like that. So we feel that some of the impact of the arts is not being counted rightly for the arts. It's being counted in other sectors. So we need to find a way of bringing that out. I'll give an example. the film until last year when the government changed was under Ministry of Information. So when they talk of the impact of the arts, they will not count the impact of film under the arts. That will be counted under another sector. So yeah, it's it's not guesswork. The numbers are there. They are very poor, but they are there. In terms of export, I think the last time we estimated we were around $200,000 of exports. In the arts, very little. And when you compare that, we imported about 5 million worth of creative goods and services. So there's serious cultural deficit. So there's a lot of these figures around, and yeah, very interesting.
It's very sad, and I'm thinking 0.4. That's the whole sector, the whole arts sector. What about if we were to go specific sections, like we go music? How much did music contribute? How much did this particular? So it gets even depressing. But I want to hear from National Arts Council's side. What do you think should be done for us to improve on these figures?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's very sad indeed. And you may wish to know that the largest exporter, the largest contributor to our arts is not music. It's actually the visual arts in form of crafts. And yes, those are the ones who are much more higher. Music was number 2, but maybe it's even number 3 because film has sort of come up and it's probably doing much more in terms of exports. So yeah, so it's sad. I agree with you. And when you talk of maybe books, creative writing, dance, it's massive. It's far less than these numbers, and it's probably 0.0000 something before you get to anything significant. So now the question of what we should do as National Arts Council, we've been saying that the first thing is, first of all, we need to carry out a national baseline economic impact survey. Yeah, we've not done this before because even when you talk of the numbers I'm giving you, it's probably from sample places, Livingstone, things like that. But when you talk of the arts are everywhere. The dance, it's in every community. There's a lot of art happening, there are a lot of crafts. So we've been pushing for a national economic survey. So when we had an opportunity this year to prioritize between the survey and the policy, we pushed for the policy as the first starting point in the new dawn. But as we move forward, we have a policy that even when we come to do the study, we are doing it based on a structured system. So that is the first thing I think we are pushing for as National Arts Council, National Economic Impact Survey baseline, to say this is where we are. Yeah, because it is difficult to even answer the question of whether Pongos was more successful than Mampi or JK. It's difficult. How? What's the basis? How much did actually these people produce? I've heard these questions of whether Pongos or PKHRI is better. We can argue the whole night, but without the numbers, we can't say who's better. So those are the things. The other thing for us as National Arts Council, we believe that we need to push for more formalization, something we discussed at the beginning. We need to formalize our businesses so that our transactions are recorded in the national account. Our transactions are not being recorded. I'll give an example. There are many artists I go to and I tell them, look, boss, I lost your CD. Can I buy your music? They say, Adrian, just bring a flash. I'll give you, pay me. It's a transaction. It's money. I pay them. I get the music, but it doesn't go into the national account. So we need to formalize our businesses. That's another key thing for us that we need to do. The other thing I think we need to do is to push for private sector involvement in the arts. Why is this very crucial? You find that say if there is 100% money in the arts from available, you find that 97% of that money is coming from the government. It's government money, either through the National Arts Council, through the ministries, through the defense and security systems that have been very supportive of the arts. So we need more private sector involvement in the arts. We need private sector to come in and invest in the arts, either infrastructure, either in facilities, in programs, and things like that. Then I think the other thing, and I have been saying this a bit of late, we need a bit more civil society organizations that are active in the arts. We were just discussing with others today that most of the civil society organizations are not active in the arts. What I mean by active in the arts, we want people to be pushing for policies that will improve the arts. We don't have these organizations. Civil society is not active. And for any country to grow, you need the private sector, you need the government, you need the community, and you need the civil society. I think that's the thing. I'll tell you that Zambians have been very, very supportive, very supportive. They've been going to concerts, they've been doing shows, they've been doing that. But we need a bit more support in that context.
Ah.
Yes, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think also in terms of employment. There's always the shallow understanding that arts or creative sector does not provide as much job opportunities to those that are not talented in the arts. So, from your angle, from your position, would you confidently tell me that the art sector actually does provide or create opportunities, job opportunities for non-creative individuals? I'm asking that question because I want to understand to what extent does the creative industry impact or affect the economy, and what are the opportunities that lie in the sector given perfect conditions?
Very, very interesting topics you are bringing. Sorry, I'm just very interesting topics. When you look at the arts value chain, when you look at the arts value chain, if we take music for example, at every point from conception, production, distribution, consumption, if we structure the value chain in that simple framework, you find that there's a lot of opportunities for others to be involved. And I think this comes from the point which I was just making previously, that more often we are not accounting for this impact to the arts, we are counting it elsewhere. If you talk of, you want to host a concert, first of all, you need marketers, you need publicists, you need electricians, you need carpenters, you need security guards, you need drivers, caterers, beverage people. So it's a whole range of people who are there. You know, in other places, I think in the US, they've estimated that $1 $1 in the arts creates about 10 jobs or something like that, just to show you that it's a wide thing. So the arts are very, very accommodating in terms of non-creative creative people. I think there have been some tensions, obviously, let's not hide. There's been some tensions between artists and non-creative staff, if I may use that word. But most of the tension has come from the fact that sometimes when the non-creative try to tamper with the creativity, I think that's where there's a feeling that there's no brotherly love there. There's no love lost, as they say, because they try to interfere with the creativity. And I see it a lot of times. I see it when you have this marketing guy and wants to tell the artist what to sing, how to sing, want to sing. And no, leave that space, play with anything around the stage, backstage, the audience, outside. Leave the stage alone, let the artists do their thing. So I think that's where you find this tension. But essentially, the arts cannot survive without other people. We cannot exist in a vacuum. I know artists believe that they can do it, but it's not possible. You need that manager. I'll give an example, like managers, if I use that example.
Yes.
We had in the 90s we had rumors of artists, great artists, that there will be a he will be a door bouncer.
Yes.
Door via backstage, the stage manager. He's also the lead vocalist. He's the watch. Then after Wapuisha, I'm Penda Nempia, the same guy, you know. But these things have finished. We have managers who are not artists, and there are things like that. I remember I'll venture into a very controversial topic briefly. When we set up the famous artist empowerment funds, we had said that is for artists and the artistic businesses. So a lot of people were saying, how can you have non-artists get in the fund? We said, yes, there could be non-artists, but they are running artistic businesses.
Artistic
And this is
businesses.
very normal, and it's reasonable. So I think those are the issues when we can look at them. Yeah.
Okay, let me read one comment from our viewers, and then obviously you
Okay.
see if you can
Yes.
into that. So this one is
I hope
coming
I
from
can.
Aruna Ba. Aruna Ba says the National Arts Council should rebrand to Lusaka Arts Council. I am based in Luansha, and there is nothing that the council does to identify, promote, educate, and utilize arts, regardless of the fact that the district is endowed with so much artistic talent. I remember in my days in high school where the best across Zambia could be brought together to compete, but nowadays it's pathetic. The council needs an overhaul. With all due respect, we need people who have the passion of the art at heart. That's Aruna. He says, "Are you reading? Should I bring it back?"
No, I can read. I can read. Aruna Ba.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, are we reading more? I can respond to this one.
Yeah. So I don't think we've got more questions. So some of them are just greetings, like this friend
Okay.
of ours, Nebuchadnezzar, is saying, "How are you, Mr. Chipindi?"
I'm okay, King Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, some are telling us where they are watching us from. So, but I think that's one question I've noticed from what we've gotten so far.
Okay. I think the question from Ba, I don't know whether it's a man or woman, but from Aruna, if I may say, is a very valid concern. The National Arts Council is centrally located. Unfortunately, we are based in Lusaka, and we don't have offices outside Lusaka. In the provinces, we have what we call provincial arts advisory committees. Basically, these are artists that come together and they try to help us coordinate programs in places. So I hear what they are saying, and that is very crucial. Now, in terms of our work, it's not just that Lusaka. We are found everywhere. We have programs we are supporting in Luansha. We have partners in Luansha, but maybe it's a question of how visible we are. Not just in Luansha, in many parts of the country. And the empowerment funds actually gave us an opportunity to spread our access to across many parts of the country. We had applications from all the provinces, so we were able to reach out to as many people as possible across the country. So yeah, I hear Aruna's thought, and I understand their challenge, but we need to look back at how we can expand our service provision. In fact, one of the challenges that was noticed when we partnered with the EU was that our service provision levels were lower than what it should be. And some of it has to do with funding. The funding may not be as good as we would want it to be. And we hope that maybe as we rebrand, not as the Lusaka Arts Council, as we rebrand as something else, maybe the same National Arts Council, as we revise the Act, we'll be able to compare through the Act the establishment of different offices across the country. I am reading the comment from Aruna. It says the director should, know the current status quo. Yeah, I know the current status quo, but I don't want to give figures confidently if I don't have them in front of me. If you give me time, I can come back to you with the proper figures. I know the figures, but yeah, I don't have them. And we are using 2000 as the base year because 2020 was very difficult for the art sector due to Corona. So in terms of our discussions, we normally don't want to use it because according to our records, about 6,000 events were cancelled according to the survey that we did. So we normally don't want to use 2021 or 2020 as a base. We want to go back 2019 when things were a bit normal. Under the new normal, as things settle, maybe 2022 we'll be able to get a different picture. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chipindi, just about 2 minutes. Let me just connect my laptop. I'm told my battery is too low. Let me just connect. Sorry.
Okay. My phone is still on. Yeah, we are still on. We're waiting for Mr. Pilato is coming. Wait for him. Just trying to read the comments. Thank you, thank you, Arona, for the feedback. Thank you, everyone who's watching. I don't know that. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chirembo. Oh, I don't know it's a Mr. Chinozenge Chirembo. Thank you. Great stuff. Thank you. Upcoming artists, why don't you give upcoming artists on the big stage? Okay. I think that's a very important question. Upcoming artists. Waiting for Pilato. Mbala, nice. Mbala people. Okay, I saw a comment around the council not negotiating for artists.
I was sure the battery of my laptop was going out. Kanshina router was going out. So
okay. There's a comment, Pilato. There was a comment from someone. Okay, thank you. I've seen the one from Mr. Chirembo. Thank you. The GDPR 0.4, about that much. It's very low. Very low. It could even be less. Yeah, it could even be less this year and last year because in terms of growth, the art sector sort of contracted. That's what economics say. I don't know. I'm not an economist. It contracted by, it was like 0.7% or something. It was quite, it was less than, it went into negative actually. The arts one. Now, there was a comment from someone who was talking of two things. There was something about upcoming artists. Someone is saying, why don't you give a stage to upcoming artists? Then I saw another comment. Someone who said the National Arts Council, which gave empowerment. Also, the National Arts Council, which does not negotiate contracts. Yeah, I want to clarify that, but let me thank nature and maybe comment that by law, we require every promoter, when they're bringing a foreign artist, to have a local act. However, the current law expects the promoter to use the local act. It doesn't say whether the local act is upcoming or established and things like that. All we expect from our law is to see whether they have a contract with the local artists and whether they have the local artists. That's all. So there's no international act that can come to Zambia without a local act opening. That is a given requirement by law. So we push for that every time. But in terms of upcoming artists, I think this is where I was saying that we need to promote organizations. For example, the Zambia Association of Musicians, we need to promote them and support them so that they are able to tap into these upcoming talents. Because in terms of levels, we would expect the council to be doing more work with professional artists so that the sort of upcoming artists become the preserve of the associations. If you remember associations when they were strong, remember we had Natas and everywhere. Natas were in every school in Zambia, and that gave a lot of strength and a lot of platform. A lot of people were seen on screen today. They came from Natas, and this is also a big thing.
Yes, yes.
Now there was a comment. I don't know where it has gone. It was saying that we
Comment on
we
youth
don't.
empowerment. I deliberately wanted to avoid it because it's not
Yes, this
consistent with
one.
what I want us to
Yes.
focus on. But if you want to respond to it, that's fine. But I wanted to deliberately ignore it
No, no, no.
because it's
I'll avoid the part on youth empowerment. I'll talk
yeah.
of the royalties. I'll talk of negotiate for fair payment between local and international artists, and the council that fails to pay freelance artists. So the council does not interfere in a business contract. Yeah, the council has no power to interfere in a business contract. If Mr. Pilato signs a contract with a promoter to say they'll pay 50,000, the council cannot say no, 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 it's too much. You pay Pilato 2,000, 3,000. So we cannot do that at the moment. It's a contractor thing. And you know these contracts, some of them are very confidential. You don't even hear about them, and you only hear about them after or when there's a problem. So we by law we are not allowed to involve ourselves into that contract. All we need to do is to check that there's a contract. The terms of the contract is up to the artists themselves and how they negotiate them. Similarly for royalties, Mr. Pilato, you know that there's an organization, a collecting society, that collects royalties on behalf of artists. And if the artists are registered, they go to some cops, and some cops will collect their royalties. If the royalties and royalties now they've become less and less. I don't know the current figures that are out there, but royalties have become less because there are too many channels which music can be accessed. It's just a few of us who still buy CDs because our cars have CDs. Most cars now don't even have CD players. Most homes. One time I was trying to replace my CD player. I had to go around the whole town because there are no CD players actually. You can't buy a CD player. You know, we used to buy those CD players, the DVD players, those ones. You can't find them. It's very difficult. So the council does not involve itself in that kind of thing. But I think when we revise the law, these are some of the things we need to look into to see how can we create a body, maybe somehow a bit away from the National Arts Council, to be looking into these specific artist welfare issues. Because again, it's not a very good thing for the government to be involved in itself in contracts. Imagine if the government was asking my contract how much and things like that. That would be a bit too much. Maybe we need to create a professional body that would be really looking into the artists, these very specific artist sector issues. I think that would be much more. So the council does not go into contracts, and I think that is very important.
Okay, so Derek, I wanted to also find out from you.
Yes.
So we used to have Ngoma awards. I don't know other awards
Yes.
that for other sectors.
Yes. You won it under the creative writing, I remember.
Yes, yes, and I won an award. But I wanted to
Yes,
find out from you, where are we in terms of that? Because I'm trying to think if it's those incentives that inspire art, and for artists we want to be awarded. So then, if we want to go outside of the country, we go like, I'm the award-winning artist, award-winning
yeah,
poet.
yeah.
So then, what happened to that? But where are we with the Ngoma Awards?
Okay, so we last held the Ngoma Awards in 2019. A very big award, very exciting. So
Yeah.
maybe a bit of background. The Ngoma Awards are part of the function of the National Arts Council. So if you read the National Arts Council Act, there's a line which says that the council will organize the national artistic honors and awards. So it's a function of the council to award and recognize artists on behalf of the Zambian people. So the Ngoma Awards are a very serious thing from the part of the council, and we couldn't hold them in 2020 due to mostly corona-related challenges. 2021, we tried to hold them virtually; it was a bit difficult. But we are working with partners to hold them this year. We'll be able to provide some guidance later on in the year, but we take the Ngoma Awards very seriously. But I must mention that normally when we host the Ngoma Awards, we don't get the support that we would want to get to host such an award, because just awarding artists, just producing the trophies, organizing everything, it costs a lot of money, and we don't get the support that we'd want to get. And we pray that when we host them, we'll get the support. We want to appeal actually, so we get the support that we hold them. There's always this difficult conversation that the Ngoma Award, the prize money is not enough. There's
Mm.
this discussion about the prize money. It's an elephant in the room. I don't know whether I should. That's why I was telling you some. I don't know whether it's good that this recording stays on after some time. But yeah, the Ngoma Awards, the prize money issue, it's unsustainable for us to keep on increasing it. It's not sustainable.
Mm.
My personal position, not the position of the National Arts Council, is that there should be no prize money. We should just give the recognition, and then maybe if sponsors are interested, they can come and offer some incentives and things like that. I think that will give the award a bit more. Because for many people that have won the Ngoma Award, they'll tell you that it's not about the money. It's not about the money, it's about the trophy, holding that trophy and saying, for this year, Pilato, you are the best in the thing that you do. Not just that you are the best, but that your country has recognized your efforts. I think that is a bigger award. And as National Council, maybe now talking about National Council, we also believe that there's no amount of money that can
Mm.
recognize the work that you do. One year, I think not National Council, I think under Zambia Music Awards, they recognized. Well, I mean, this year, let me use this year. The last time we held the Ngoma, we recognized Mr. Lawrence Thompson. Mr. Lawrence Thompson has contributed so much to the film industry. The bananas, the what. We cannot value his contribution. We cannot say his contribution is worth this much. Or Father Mia, if you remember Father Mia when he was recognized, you can't say Father Mia's contribution is worth 20,000, 100,000. Or if we have to recognize, say, Pongos today, are
Mm.
we able to value the contribution to match his contribution to the money? We can't do it. So I think we need to focus on other things. But these are very controversial issues. And you know, the Ngoma is not my award. It's not the National Council's award. It's not the artist award. It's a country's award. So whatever you say about the Ngoma, it becomes a very emotional discussion.
So
Yeah.
I would like,
So, yeah.
I would like to also, why ask Ngoma about the Ngoma Awards. I wanted to understand also who gets nominated. So when picking a nomination, when nominating these creatives, what do you consider? Do you consider their affiliation to, let's say, for example, musicians? Are they supposed to be registered? Are they supposed to be a tax-paying artist? Are they supposed to be registered with ZRA? Are they supposed to register with ZAM? Do you consider those things across the art disciplines when picking nominations?
Okay, I was scared. I thought you at one point you say, are they affiliated to the green or the red? No, no, we don't consider that. Definitely, there's no green, no red.
Yeah.
I hope I can have an opportunity to say something about that at the end. Now, we try to make the Ngoma Awards. Pardon?
Yeah. I'll allow you to make that conclusion on the red and green argument.
Yes, we'll make it at the end. Oh, you want me to make it now?
No, at the end. That's the concluding remarks.
Yes, at the end, so that we even switch off. Then we start answering calls. So, we try to make the Ngoma about artistic merit. We try to make it about artistic merit. We don't want to bring in so many things when we're awarding the Ngoma. It's very difficult because naturally things start coming up. Okay, how do I identify this one? How do I identify this one? So two key things about the Ngoma is one, this is very controversial for other people. We do not nominate people without them submitting an application because we want them to put their name in the hat. There are other people who've said, Adrian, me, I don't want to participate in awards because I believe awards, they take away something from my artistry. And we respect that. But people must submit their name into the award. So they must be nominated, they must submit their own nomination. They must say, I want to be part of the award. So that has been a very key principle of the Ngoma Awards. And you find that some people are not comfortable. They say, but you know, I'm Pilato. Why don't you just nominate me? No. Pilato has to be nominated. He's an artist. He has to be given that respect, that artistic integrity, so that we don't interfere with how he identifies himself as an artist. Then we try to make them about artistic merit. We don't want to make them about affiliation to NAC or business, or controversially to an association. But associations are very crucial because they are what holds the pillar of NAC, and that's what NAC. That's what makes NAC actually. NAC is a council of associations, by the way. It's a council of associations, and that's what brings us together. But we try not to make it about that. We try to make it about artistic merit. So you find that certain times when a talented artist has applied to be nominated, they normally reach out to the artist and say, look, are you able to affiliate to this association? It will give this association a lot of boost. Not that it's really a prerequisite, but it's a very crucial part of the process. And ultimately, the reason we're even having this discussion is because somehow some of the big artists have shunned being members of associations. And this has continued to undermine the associations. So we pray that even as we revise the act, as we put up programs, we'll be able to attract the big people into associations. If the associations are too small for the big people, maybe we should create something for the big people. The big boys club, there's the way it's called big boys. Yeah. Maybe some kind of big boys club for the level that they will be relevant. Because some of these things about relevance, maybe Pilato feels what do the ZAM president tell me? I talk to presidents, I talk to ambassadors, I'm a big guy, I'm a big guy. But the association needs you. So I think that's the thing. So we try to make the Ngoma about artistic merit and nothing else.
I think we've run out of time, but I'd like us to respond to this. No, I'll let you talk about the green and red. So this one is Adam Kazoni. Adam says, how will the ministry protect piracy of the musicians, having known these people pay tax? Secondly, are we going to see artists being appreciated in terms of awards? I think you've just responded to the awards part.
Yes. Yeah. So in terms of protection, yes, not really from the ministry. The protection will come from PACRA, who are responsible for intellectual property. We hope artists will register there so that they are recognized and they are supported. in that context. So basically, I think that's one quick response. Thank you, Mr. Kazon.
So, director, you're saying once I have my album, I can go to Pakra to register my album at Pakra.
Well, according to the 2010, I don't know the 2010 Copyright Act, you don't even need to register with Pakra.
Yeah.
You only need to go to Zamcov to tell them to collect royalties on your product. We changed the law before 2010. You had to register your artwork for it to be protected. But from 2010, the moment you create it, it is protected. It is protected at birth. But in terms of PACRA, they'll get issues of copyright. The Copyright Act is at PACRA. Intellectual property rights at PACRA. Many other good products that PACRA has introduced, including the Movable Properties Act, which allows artists to register their movable assets, which recognizes artwork, especially like painters, visual artists rather, not painters. They can be recognized in that context. So the Ministry of Commerce under PACRA is the one spearheading that. We are partners, obviously, as National Council. As I mentioned, the partnership we have currently with MouthChoice around piracy, but we are not the main player. And piracy is a big topic, very big, and it's affecting a lot of our people. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Maanka. In your concluding remarks, now you can address the nation.
And you can address the nation. Thank you. The time passed flew by very quickly. It's been a very nice discussion. Thank you, Pilato. Yes. Now, the issue of the green, red, and whatever, at National Arts Council, I think we share the nation's concern that we've arrived at a place where there are artists who are said to be of a certain political setting and others to be this political setting. It's almost like you have opposition and ruling kind of setup within the art sector. It's unfortunate because artists are artists and artists should be given the space to be creative as they are. I know sometimes we've dragged ourselves into this place as artists, but I think the nation should give us an opportunity to show that an artist is an artist. And for us, National Council, an artist is an artist. We don't look at any other kind of affiliation. When you walk through my door, you are an artist. We may give special consideration to those maybe with disabilities, maybe from rural and things like that. Maybe female. Generally speaking, an artist is an artist, and that's what we want the nation to know. That Pilato is Pilato. He's an artist. He's not an artist for red or blue or green or pink. He's an artist, and we pray that as a sector we'll be able to redeem ourselves from this image that we've suffered, where people think we are just a bunch of political affiliated people of some sort. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you. Very interesting. I'll try to go through the questions online to see if I can respond and connect you to other people who are there. But very interesting, very insightful questions. Thank you. I hope you've recorded these. As we develop the policy, these are some of the things we need to get back to. Thank you to the British Council. I think they're doing a commendable job. Aki Mubumba and David and the team, brilliant stuff. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone or anyone hasn't moved. Thank you, Pilato. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. I'm very happy you agreed to join us, and this has been very educative. And obviously, we'll be coming to knock on your door for some more information should we need some more. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So this has been the